Sup, fellas? I just wanted to talk about something that I wanted to yap about. Uh, so if you didn't order a yappuccino, go ahead and get up on out of here. So I wanted to tell you guys I'm working on something big. Okay, it doesn't have to do anything with YouTube. I just wanted to post about it. I am a big fan of anime and manga. Okay, I love cartoons. I love anime. I love that kind of thing. And I wanted to tell you guys that I started working on my own story. I've got my own manga slash graphic novel kind of thing that I'm working on. It's called Elements of Conquest, and I'm going to tell you what it's about. So, me and my brother used to go outside and fight with swords. Like we have like these foam like katanas, and we go outside and we fight with them, and pretend that we were anime characters. And we made this game called Elements of Conquest, and that's what I'm basing the story off of, because we really thought that we were anime characters in this game. And my character was named Vapad, and then his character was named Jokan. And I'm also a bit of an artist, um, so I'll show their character designs up here. Uh, Basically, I just wanted to tell you guys what I'm working on, what it's about. So basically, the general plot is it's a world where there's a handful of people that have ability to access certain elements, and there's not just four, right? So you've got wind, fire, water, and earth. Those are the main ones everybody knows about, but they branch off into different things because Jokan has lightning, okay, and that I guess you could say goes with wind in a way, but Vapad is fire, Jokan is lightning. Okay, they inherited these powers from their fathers. They are adoptive brothers. Their fathers fought in a war, and Jokan's father dies in the war, and then Vapad's father takes in Jokan as his own, and they're raised as brothers, and they don't know now. Jokan doesn't know, was too young to know what happened to his father, so they think that they're biological brothers. They don't know. But eventually, the whole thing is there's this guy named Sin, and he has one of the most powerful elements, and it's called Venom. Essentially, he has the ability to course like snake venom type thing throughout his body, and he can manipulate like the toxicity levels of it, so he can make it to where it just makes you sick, or he can make it to where it kills you in like 5 seconds, right? So essentially what happens is Sin gets his powers, and he was the first elemental. He was the first person to get elemental powers, and he got Venom. And it has to do with like your spirit, it kind of matches who you are. Kind of like the whole spirit animal kind of thing, but it's for elements, okay? So Sin gets Venom, and that's why his name is literally Sin. At first he's not really a bad dude that much, but he starts to kind of, sort of an Anakin Skywalker situation, he kind of goes down the wrong path. And he becomes obsessed with himself, his own power. He becomes obsessed with his own power. And he sees, and then Jokan's father and Vapad's father get their powers after. And Sin sees this as a threat. And any other elemental he sees as a threat to his power. And he wants to take them out. Originally, they were all friends, the three of them, but eventually, because Sin was obsessed and didn't want to be opposed ever, he didn't like the thought of anybody ever being able to rival him in any way. So he was going to stop it before it happens. And so essentially, he goes off on this little yap sesh, this little monologue where he's like, other elementals existing is dangerous, and so I am going to be the only one. So Jokan's father dies in a battle with the enemy force, and then later on, Sin poisons Vapad's father in a fight. They get into a fight, a little tussle, and Sin gets him like this, like grabs him like that, and floods his lungs with his like toxicity, and gives him about like 5 years to live. He's like, I'm gonna give you this chance. Join me, or you're gonna get fucked up, basically. And he's like, okay, so I can either kill you now, because I don't like the idea of other elementals, or you can kneel to me and work for me, and I will let you live. And then, but Vapepad's father is a real one. He's like, nah, fuck that. I ain't work for nobody. And so Sin is like, all right, cool, and he poisons his ass. So he gives him 5 years left. I'm like, I'm gonna let you think about this for the next 5 years and make your choice. Uh, Vapepad's father ends up dying to the sickness because he never chose Sin. And Vapepad, and at this time Vapepad's like 9 years old at this point, and he's like, nah, fuck that dude, Sin. I'm gonna go find him someday and I'm gonna kill his ass. And then Jokan kind of has the same thing because they both watched Vapepad's father die, and they both kind of thought that he was their dad, right? Even though Jokan came from elsewhere, he doesn't know that. You know what I mean? And so essentially, you get this thing where Vapepad has this. Both of them, Vapepad and Jokan, have this real deep feeling of like, I'm gonna fuck this guy up when I get my powers. So a couple years pass. They're like 17, and their powers are like not. They're at their peak, but like think of like Dragon Ball, how Gohan had to get his power unlocked. That's kind of where they're at now. Their power hasn't been unlocked, but they're still strong as shit, and they still can kind of manipulate their abilities to an extent, right? So Vapepad is trying to figure out how the fuck I'm gonna do this, and I need to get stronger. I need to unlock my power. The key to that is their father's swords. There are two swords that revolve around unlocking their full power, and what happens is when they're of age, which is like 17, because that's when your powers start to really show up, at least for Sin, Jokan, and Vapepad's fathers. Their powers started to show up when they were like 18, 19, because they were young when they died. But yeah, so and then he's like, I bet I'm gonna kill this motherfucker when I get old enough. When I get my powers, it's raps for this dude Sin. It's raps. So, but what happens is Sin sends some of his goons because he's got like a whole like criminal underground kind of thing going on. He's got apprentices that he's teaching how to fight, and these like little goons and soldiers and whatnot. And he sends two of his high-ranking ninjas, actually three of them, three high-ranking ninjas, and then two of his direct apprentices. The three ninjas are sent to get their swords so that they'll never be able to tap into that potential. And so they get the swords, but what happens is Jokan kills one of them, but the other two get away. And so now they have to go on this journey to get their swords back. What happens is Jokan starts going off, right? They both kind of split their ways because the two ninjas that were left split off. Little did they know these two other higher, literal apprentices were waiting for them. And they have abilities too. So Vapepad runs off. Now Vapepad has a friend who's kind of like the Piccolo of this story. How like he's just kind of there, but he's still strong as shit. He doesn't have an element. He's a race of human that they have red skin and they're just freakishly strong. And everybody is racist to them. Like this literal segregation. Nobody likes them because they look like demons, and so people think that they're demons. They're not. They're the most kind of. They're literally like Namekians. They're just farmers. It's the same kind of shit for these red people. And so, Vapepad has his homie, and they go off into the forest to chase after these ninjas. And what happens is Vapepad runs into the apprentice. They square up, and this apprentice has earth element. And Vapepad, this is the first time Vapepad has ever had to square up with another elemental, and he loses because of his overconfidence. He starts because he starts flying around like Iron Man and trying to chase after this dude. After they have a little squabble, they fight for a little bit, and then Vapepad takes off after him, and they get to a point where Vapepad is flying around like I said, flying around like Iron Man. He's got fire out of his hands and his feet, flying around and shit, and but this apprentice, his name is Katagiri. And he swings his hand up from behind and makes a giant spike and hits Vapepad in the neck and knocks his ass out. While this is happening, Jokan can kind of sense. They have like this kind of neural like sense, like they kind of sense each other, and they can know what's happening to each other, kind of like a psychic thing. They couldn't explain it, but it's like they, their bond as brothers. They're so like, you know, they're real tight. You know what I mean? And so they have this bond where they're. If you ever heard of a technique in Star Wars called force mind meld, they know what the other's thinking at all times. And so Jokan kind of finds out that Vapad is in a bad situation. But at this time, Jokan runs into the other apprentice. His name is Jintan. And he's like, yo, why does your name sound like mine? He has wind, and Jokan has lightning. They square up. He wins, though. Jokan whoops the fuck out of this guy. And then goes off to find Vapad. Now, Vapad found this little baddie who lived in the forest. Her name's Mo, and she bad as fuck. But apparently, she got beef with Sin, too. Sin, because she used to be a princess, Sin murdered everybody in her kingdom. Literally everybody. Because her parents were elementals as well. And, his whole thing about, no elementals can exist. So he wipes all of them out and then kills all the people that live in the palace and the village and everybody. He murders everybody, but he forgot about her. He just kind of left her there. He was like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. And so she's kind of just left to watch the whole thing go down. And so she's got this real vendetta against Sin and all his whole goon squad. And he's like, you know what, I'm gonna fuck these guys up. So Vapad and Mo have this common enemy, so they team up. They're like, I bet we're gonna go get this motherfucker. So they start going off, and they kind of catch feelings for each other, but that's a different story. That's explored later on. And they go across. Jokan pulls up because he's like, yo, what the fuck happened? I heard you got knocked the fuck out. I felt that shit. And he's like, nah, yeah, I got in a tussle. Like, I bet we gonna go find this dude, and I'm gonna whoop his ass because nobody fucks with my brother, type shit. You know what I mean? And so Vapad and Jokan, they go find Katagiri, and they jump him. They whoop his ass. They fuck him up big time. And they're like, all right, tell me where your master is, bro. Tell me where Sin is right now, or I'm about to off you, bro. So they got him cornered up, and he's like, I ain't telling you shit. And so Jokan stomps his ass out and kills him right there. He's like, nah, you want to play games? We'll play fucking games. And he stomps his ass out. And then they go find Sin themselves. They go up to his army, fuck up all his men, because they're jack shit compared to them. Those two ninjas that got away, they find them, and they bash their fucking heads in. But Vapad gets pinned down as Mo kind of gets gets pissed off and tries to go for Sin, and they start boxing a little bit. She actually whoops his ass for a little bit. She starts, knocking his shit back. But he's low-key tanking this shit. And what happens is he grabs her and slams her into the ground and, like, low-key breaks her fucking arm. And, like, the screams that she has is, like, Vapad feels that shit in his soul. And he's like, fuck that shit. So while he's pinned down, it's kind of like Guts from Berserk, except Mo doesn't get, you know what I mean. That shit don't happen to her. But he just watches her get kind of tortured, and he's like, nah, fuck that shit. So he turns around, grabs this ninja by the face, and slams his ass into the ground so far using his fire powers that he causes like a nuclear bomb explosion, like a big-ass mushroom cloud. And after that explosion, he transforms. And he low-key, this would be like his kind of Super Saiyan moment, where he gets his power up. All the flame in his body is like amped up because he's pissed off, and he rushes and knocks the fuck out of Sin, and then and they start boxing, and Vapad beats the fuck out of Sin, kicks his ass onto the brink, and then Sin pulls out this shit. He's like, nah, you know what? Fuck you, and he has like a whole like skeleton like fucking Susanoo type shit. But it's like made out of poison. So like if you touch the shield, if you touch it, you get fucked, basically. This shit is still smoking. Stop. I'll put you out. I might light up another one though, I ain't gonna lie. But nah, bro. Sin is just like, getting fucked up, and then he's like, nah, cause I got this shit, and pulls out the Susanoo, and it kind of looked like Godzilla as a skeleton, but he's like purple and made out of poison, and so he's like, damn, the fuck am I about to do about this, And Joe Khan pulls up as well. He's like, nah, this ain't shit, and so they start teaming on him, and but it's to little avail, and they get their shit rocked, and I haven't written anything past that. I'm about to do that right now. I'm about to write more of that shit. But I just wanted to tell you guys, this is the story that I've been writing. I'll make an update when I write what happens next, because I got some ideas. I've got some plans. But yeah, man, I just wanted to and tell y'all that I got that idea. I've got this story I've been writing. So yeah, man. Fuck yeah, dude. It's going well, and I've got more ideas and shit, and yeah, Sin's about to get fucked up. It's raps for him after this next fucking shit I'm about to write. Fuck yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to yap for a little bit, so yeah. Elements of Conquest. Let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah, I'll tell y'all how it goes in another video. Peace out.